Well, we partner now with the FT to bring you Lex on Bloomberg. So essentially, you get a sneak peek at the Financial Times flagship column a day early. Paul Rathbone joins us now from London. UK's GDP data coming in much weaker than forecast. In fact, none of the 33 economists surveyed by Bloomberg predicted a contraction. Paul, glad to have you with us. So does this crush all hope that the UK economy is going to emerge from a recession?
Well, it's not going to emerge from a recession soon. I mean, the view until now is that things aren't getting worse, but in fact they are still getting worse. And what's startling is the sectors that they got worse in. Everything fell except for government spending, which showed a small rise. The decline in financial services slowed, which might help explain some of the city's relatively buoyant optimism. But the biggest faller was in sectors to which consumers are exposed or rather responsible for, so retail, hotels and catering, which showed a very steep fall indeed.
So, Paul, I mean, what is the government planning to do, if anything? I mean, have there been talks about additional QE and extension of quantitative easing at this moment?
Well, the picture is you've got consumers who seem to be finally throwing in the towel. It's not very well appreciated, but until June of this year, disposable income in the UK was actually rising for a series of factors that are now going to be reversed. Interest rates can't get any lower. They're basically zero. Fiscal policy is basically exhausted as the government's been spending hand over fist. And there are sales taxes which also are going to start rising in January. And so none of this is going to help consumption. And there are very few buttons left for the government or the authorities to push. And two of them are quantitative easing. So there's speculation, probably reasonable, that the Bank of England will restart its quantitative easing policy. And the other final escape valve is sterling. And we saw this morning that the pound fell about a cent or so against the dollar and the euro. So the Bank of England seems happy to see sterling fall, and investors clearly understand why.
Paul, we thank you very much. Paul Rathbone, FT Lex deputy editor there, joining us from London.